Hello and good evening, everyone. Scale Up to Education for and Finance Full Mastery in association with Noble Palm School and Creative Thinkers Curriculum Designers. Welcome you all to yet another interesting session, which will be led by none other than our very own Master Siddharth Pilli. I feel privileged to introduce you to our child prodigy, Asia's youngest data scientist, who is just 14-year-old. Siddharth is currently working as data scientist at Infinity Learn, where the company's motto is for helping learners around India to help them achieve their dreams of acing G Mains, G Advanced, and NEET for a better future. As a data scientist, he analyzes the state-of-art model to provide insights which can be crucial for students' development in the learning procedure. Siddharth also works as a freelancer where he provides service on bots and AI solutions to a US stock and finance advisory company called Right Choice USA. An eminent speaker as well, he has addressed many schools, colleges, universities across the country. He is also spreading his knowledge by giving online classes based on artificial intelligence, multiple intelligence, and Python as well. Siddharth is a media personality, having been featured in NDTV, BBC, UIC, MMUIT, 99 TV, ETV Telangana, Sakshi, ABN, Deccan Chronicles, and featured in front page of Traveler's Time, and was invited for a radio talk show on Telugu NRI radio, just to name a few. Coming to his awards, he has been honored as Asia's youngest data scientist for working as a data scientist for a company at 12-year-old. He has been awarded as Biscuits by Sri Chaitanya Institute founder, Dr. B.S. Rao, Baiju's Young Genius Award by News 18 TV, and he has also been awarded many more prestigious awards. In IIT Hyderabad, he is working as a deep learning computer vision intern. He has worked in the leaf counting challenge hosted by Julius Challenges, where he had to use deep learning methods to get the best MAE in the leaders board. He has used exception and scored 0.68 MAE. The key point he would be covering today is the problems of classroom management and how the whole learning curve can be improved and personalized using technology. So without taking much of your time, I invite our very own Master Siddharth Pilli, the youngest data scientist of Asia, to address us. Over to you, Siddharth.
Yes. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for that wonderful introduction. So, hello, everyone. I'm Siddharth Pilli. In today's sessions, I'll mainly be discussing about emerging opportunities for the world of teaching using machine learning, technology, and artificial intelligence. So I have a few slides prepared. I'll just try sharing them throughout my discussion in today's session. Yeah. So this is a concept which I'll be explaining in today's session for emerging opportunities for teaching using machine learning. Now, we already know there are a bazillion number of domains out there which have already advanced through the use of AI, machine learning, or even technology right now as well. We can just name over a few of those domains. This might be banking, finance, maybe the entertainment industry, etc. These domains right now has excelled largely over the use of technology. For example, something like Amazon Prime Video has been using artificial intelligence and machine learning to make learning personalized for people out there, for better viewing experience, and also give them a hold of what they want to view. Or even things like Gmail right now uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to sort our inbox to help us writing in our emails and etc. With this many domains right now having huge exposure towards technology, I think we can also bring up the teaching domain to also get a chance in the world of moving technology right now. Where in today's session we'll be looking at few new opportunities and which arise in using machine learning and artificial intelligence in the world of teaching. So I'll just give a quick intro about myself. I'm Siddharth Pilli. I'm 14 years old. I'm working as a data scientist at Infinity Learn. I'm also currently working as a deep learning and computer vision intern at IIT Hyderabad. I'm the brand ambassador for Infinity Learn, the company where I work at. I'm a huge fan of Virat Kohli, and I'm also currently studying in ninth grade. So this is a short introduction about myself. Now, throughout today's session, I'll be going very deep into what exactly machine learning, artificial intelligence can be benefited using, sorry, how teaching can be benefited using machine learning and artificial intelligence. So I think it'll be better for all of us if we just get a discrete understanding to what exactly machine learning is. So when I talk about machine learning, I'm just saying it's the practice of us using mathematical algorithms to parse data, learn from it, and then make a prediction about something in the world. And few examples for this goes to about different types of algorithms like supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. But what data and what algorithms and what learning are we exactly talking about here? Well, now machine learning is just basically an algorithm. An algorithm again, it's a way it's a way something is implemented to make certain prediction or to make to let's say solve a certain equation or basically just have an algorithm is really defined. In machine learning, we're using this algorithm to parse the data, learn from it, and then make a certain prediction in the world. This prediction can be to, let's say, classify if the weather forecast for tomorrow, or or to classify the number of leaves in a certain image, the project which I have done. Or this can also be used as Amazon Prime Video for them to give the user the best choices of the movies or the series which you're viewing right now. And that's how we can just define what machine learning discretely. And machine learning right now has three different stages to it, which is completely divided upon being as supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. These are currently the three different applications of machine learning from what we have divided. And each of them support a certain type of the applications diagnostics. One being on classification, where classification we're just trying to differentiate between one certain cluster to another cluster. This can be we can train a machine learning to, let's say, classify between a dog or a cat, where machine learning can differentiate between what a dog or what a cat exactly is. Or identity fraud detection, where machine learning can easily identify if a fraud actually happened or not using using previous data of a person's banking data as well. So again, that's basically what machine learning really is coming under at this point. We're using algorithms to solve real life problems such as fraud detection, classification, diagnostics, and etc. And when we try to link this upon, when we try to link this upon the real life applications of how machine learning is helping the world right now, we see a huge number of domains it has opened us, from traffic prediction, speech recognition, medical diagnostics, stock prediction, online fraud detection, self-driving cars, and etc. etc. So machine learning right now has derived upon each and every domain out there, from simple image recognitions to also developing some cool self-driving cars right now. But what about education? Now, education throughoutly for years has left upon to be a traditional learning at most costs, where where at most, when we talk about education, it's all about students sitting in a class, listening to their lectures, writing, giving them assignments, students going to home, completing their assignments. That's really what education has been with us for a long time. But with new reign of applications ranging like Byju's, Topper, an academy, and etc., education definitely has took a huge turn in the current space right now. We were trying to use it where with the help of technology, machine learning, and artificial intelligence, we have given education to come upon a new reign where students can learn their concepts better and also helping it to come under center-based learning. We'll try getting back to how machine learning can be improved with education in 2 seconds. But in real need, when we talk about machine learning, I want to just develop on how exactly machine learning is functioning right now. Now, for machine learning to function, we first need a problem case statement. And this problem case statement, this problem case statement can be anything. This can be, for example, we want to know about we want to maybe develop a recommendation engine to understand to understand the lack and extremities of a student good in a certain subject. So we collect data based on it. We develop a machine learning. We have to develop a machine learning model based on understanding which subject students are lacking, which subject students are not lacking for prediction. We have to train a model. We have to test it, and finally, we're basically deploying this model into the actual application. And then we basically monitor and optimize it. It all just goes year by year. But that's really how you develop a machine. That's how you really how you develop a machine learning model out there. And now as you have at least just gained a small understanding into what machine learning is. Again, machine learning, we're just using algorithms to solve a certain sorry, certain problem key statement right now. So now I want to talk about the learning approach on what we're taking about here in classrooms. Now again, we all know how classrooms work. We have students lined up in the benches. They all said we have an instructor who explains what exactly different types of subjects students takes note. That's end of the day. But there is one problem when we think about this system out there, which means not all students tend to come upon their strengths and weaknesses when the lecturer or the instructor is actually explaining the subject. They have a small idea of understanding of what the instructor has explained, and they can solve simple problems based on it. But there are also some students out there who might be very lacking on what instructor has explained, and they might need some external resources for them to help. So the learning approach of the classroom was never the right choice to take upon as well, because there's always many disadvantages when it comes towards understanding how really students function out there. And and in the same learning approach, if you took a study out there, we have we have seen for years out there the learning system of classrooms has given us results where if we have a strength of 30 students, we're getting a toppers or students who are estimated manner, we're getting an average of 15 to 18 students who are well, average in most scores. They're moderate performances in their examinations. And what about the other students? Well, this bubble has been left out for a long time. As the classes grow, the others here are just left out in most cases as well. And that's why the learning approach to classroom was never the right answer as well. Instead, what was the right answer was bringing in tech into the learning platform at this point. But when we try to bring technology into the learning platform, we can definitely see a huge rise. One being, I'll just jot it down into 3 points. One being center-based learning. When we're offering learning solutions using something like technology at this point, student is getting center-based learning, where something like artificial intelligence will understand where exactly students are let's say lacking in their tests. If the student is understanding certain subject or not. It tries to use all these parameters to understand how good a student is with a certain subject, and how bad a student is with a certain subject as well. With these points, the machine learning here tries to optimize or create a better learning pipeline for the student here to learn on which subjects he's bad at, and also improve which subjects he's already good at into a much higher level. And that's center-based learning, where AI not just explains the lessons and then just forgets about it. It collects the data of the user paying attention, of the user writing exams to that certain concept or a subject out there, stores the data, and then brings it back in future when student is, let's say, moving on to the next concepts if he's already availed with these concepts or not. So instead of a classroom where a teacher is only explaining one concept at a time into a huge number of students, AI is trying to take the same concept, but is trying to give full center attention to each and every student out there. And then interactive based learning. With the help of machine learning or with the even help of technology, instead of trying to make classroom learning all about theory and less practicals, we're trying to we're trying to give same sorry we're trying to give same number of interactions for both theoretical part and the practical part as well, where with the help of technology we can understand, let's say, the number of tests or exams or classes which students are lacking at, and we can also and we can just give in the right animations, the right exams, and cool new designs out there which students can actually face some fun when they're actually trying to learn about new concepts and new subjects as well. And finally, personalized learning. If we have seen these days, Prime Video and Netflix has grown a lot because it tries to offer users personalized entertainment where it tracks for users' previous watch data and tries to offer them cool new watching opportunities out there. In the same way, for something like learning, we can personalize it to the most highest shots out there by actually understanding by understanding what student is more interested into, what exactly student lacks upon. And with data like this, we can make learning completely suited for him. And that's personalized learning for students. And these 3 points does not just make up the whole learning curve out there. There are almost different types of tools like predictive analytics, NLP, natural language processing, behavioral analytics, and recommendation system, where predictive analytics can be used for understanding, let's say, predicting students' score at the best, or even predicting if a student is, let's say, a good scholar or a bad scholar when it comes to examinations or learning opportunities as well. And natural language processing. Using a field of machine learning called NLP, we can automatically create new examinations and new tests without even rehearsing or giving teachers labor work. We can just create a new examinations paper, new tests, and even create a new syllabus to be learned for students as well. And with that, behavioral analytics can be used to understand where exactly our students, let's say, facing doubts, questions, or are students even understanding the concept or not. With behavioral analytics, we can improve the concept of learning the theory and the practicals more efficiently. And finally, recommendation system, just like what Prime and Netflix have done, we can totally improve the whole education concepts and subjects to what student has to offer based on the previous data. And this is how learning approach can be taken into forward with the concepts of technology right now. Now, in technology, we're trying to develop each and every single thing right now. Let it be from banking to application development to etc. etc. And we should and it's inferior that we should never leave out the whole teaching aspects to it as well, because as we see, teaching is definitely going to be the next revolution for edtech companies or even tech companies in the next few years. 3 years back, we see Byju's just to be a simple startup who's just offering educational solutions to students. but now in 2 years it has become a huge unicorn to the number of demands, the number of the demand and the personalized learning it's offering. And at this point, if we all can embrace technology and integrate it into our educational applications, I'm sure that even through this pandemic, we can definitely help students come into learning base better. So that's basically it from me, everyone. Thank you, everyone. If you guys want to check out more about me, you can check me out in LinkedIn as well. Thank you, everyone.
Well, we are open for questions. Anybody would like to ask anything to Siddharth? No questions?
Hi, Siddharth.
Oh, hello.
So first of all, let me appreciate you for a wonderful presentation.
Oh,
I
thanks.
mean, at your age, this is really commendable. So I want you to first pat your back.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And then, yeah, so of course, the new technology of machine learning is sort of alien for us. I think the new generation is much more friendly with the machine learning than generation like us. So I mean, you gave the technical background and the stuff that, is required for machine learning to help in the field of education. I really get that. But I really want to understand, you spoke about behavioral analytics and all of that. So, and predictive analysis also. Now, more than that, I'm interested in, the emotional learning, because I understand as a person who works with people with helping them with their emotions. I want to understand how can this machine learning help us in understanding the because if learning has to happen, there has to be a mixture of emotional and cognitive systems of the brain involved in it. I hope you're getting my point.
I do, ma'am. I do.
Yeah. So how can machine learning help us in having both these balanced?
No, when we talk about emotional learning, that's the thing. AI hasn't come on the table, because in any perspective, AI is just this mathematical algorithm just learning data and trying to solve problems based on it. And when we tried, sorry, oh, no, mind, sorry. I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I thought it's like a resound. I think it's
No, that was from my side. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. So when we talked about, let's say, emotional learning, yeah, in the same way, AI can't really. I mean, AI, sure, it can understand what emotions are if we train AI, understanding on how based on the voice tone or even feature extractions of face, it can definitely understand the emotion right now. But when we do, but in the form of learning, if you want to see if students really have understood the concept, let's say have understood the concept or subject, or in any way using AI and machine learning, there are multiple factors which we can take up through here. One being tests, where is the students how good are students writing the test right now, and based on the let's say based on the number of answers or the the questions which they have answered, we can at least come up to a term saying, oh, all right, so the student has, the student has scored at least tremendously on this exam, so we can know that sure, the student is doing good right now. Or in that case, even if you forget about test right now, if you actually see, if you actually talk about students attending classes, and based on classes, if a student is performing good or not, in those cases we can use something like their ongoing attendance, like are they right, how exactly is their interaction with the teacher. I mean, is there any interaction out there, is the student focusing or not, using something like the web camera. If it's disabled, is the student even talking something or not. So with different types of features like this, we can understand if a student is, let's say, is actually paying attention towards class, and if he's understanding the concepts out there. So this is what I would take on students.
Like when you, but when you said, Siddharth, if the student is not even behind the camera, how would machine learning help us?
Now, if even if a student is behind the camera, but if the student tends to write something in a chat at least, or if the student is asking questions, so we can take these of them as data points, which can actually be useful to, let's say,
Mm.
to understand if a student is paying attention or not. So these are just two data points, or we can even know if the student is attending the class. Is he using any of the Zoom features out there to communicate with the teacher? Is he using any reaction? So these all are the data points which can at least help us to understand if the student is paying attention in the class or not. And with this feature, and with this data, it can be then used in the future for the examination purposes or for the test purposes as well, for that predictions. So this is how I think it can be used.
So what we majorly focus here on are the data points.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I got that. Thank you, Siddharth.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's like an anecdote, right? Data anecdote,
Oh yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So what
Data.
she asked, I guess that was more of a logical, it deals with all logical. And you asked about the logical. Hopefully, youngsters like Siddharth will definitely come with this emotional aspect as well in coming years.
As such, this whole machine learning, as far as I've understood with this presentation, is that anything that can be measured can be put in there. But anything that is subjective, which is like emotions, cannot still be put in there.
Yes, ma'am, because emotions, yes, they're very subjective, and AI totally just functions with the whole concept of numbers, so it can't really understand that part of you.
Yeah, we still need fuzzy logic to come in into that, I suppose.
Oh, yes, yes.
Somewhere, Siddharth, are you studying on this aspect as well?
So actually, I'm currently working with NLP, which is natural language processing. So I'm currently so just using a tone, just seeing that let's say seeing some paragraphs or some text, we can definitely understand the tone of that text. We can basically understand if that paragraph is, let's say, sad, is he angry, or is he happy. So that's a certain tool which actually I'm working towards right now as well. So
You mean
that's called.
you mean you predict? Sorry. You predict that depending on the words that have been used, and what else? The punctuation and all of that, is it?
Yes. So normally, it's been trained under a deep network, a neural network. I mean, because a neural network is a black box, and I don't completely understand which features it takes into the accordion. But from what I can say, it basically uses the words. It uses the words like "be bad" is considered to be, kind of sad and everything. So
Mm.
it has so we have a huge data set of different types of paragraphs and their emotions and their tone detection. So with this data, we can we can predict that emotion based on this certain paragraph and speaking data out there.
Mm-hmm. I got that. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Thanks.
Oh,
interesting anecdote you'd like to share, Siddharth, with us regarding this, which you have just come across? Anything funny or anything serious which you have encountered in recent days? We'd just love to hear.
Yeah,
oh,
we can relate to it maybe much better.
oh, oh yes. Well, I guess when training, normally there's a whole concept of training neural network, but when you train a neural network, the thing is it's basically a black box, which means we can't really see what's going inside there. We can't understand what's happening inside there as well. It just takes in data, it tries to see its own features, and then spits some output. So it's basically like other person's brain, but without us seeing it. For example, if someone asks for example, if a person sees a dog out there, that person says, hey, that's a dog. How do I know it? Well, I see the ears of the dog, I see the nose of the dog, and all these different types of features can classify saying that specific animal out there is a dog. And in the same way for a neural network, it tries to well, it tries to compute its own features, which means it sees, let's say, for like a dog and cat classifier, it has a huge amounts of dog and cat images out there. It tries to train to differentiate between it, but we don't really know how exactly it differentiates between dog and a cat. It automatically selects features which symbolizes for it mostly to be a dog or a cat. So for me in that case, when I'm training a neural network, there's a chance that sometimes it can think a certain dog might be even be a cat as well in those cases, because we don't know how a network functions. So there's cases where things sort of something like that would happen. I guess that could be
So,
considered.
What experiment, huh?
Oh, yes.
no, so if I can understand this, if I can say this, that you are trying to create or a brain by training the neural networks.
Yes, so it's neural network is just completely based out of human brain as well.
Yeah, you're training that to be a brain. I got that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Siddharth, what message would you like to give to the school students, youngsters like you? What
Oh, yes.
message would you like to give?
Well, I'm not really that huge of messages, but I guess if you have a certain passion out there, you can just try following it, because I'm sure we are we all are limited being in this vast amount of space right now, and it's just we have to do whatever we want in the limited time as well. And if you really are interested or passionate about a certain concept or a certain part out there, just choose it and make sure it's something which you can do. There are things which you're not supposed to, like criminals. So make sure it's something which you're helping out there for the world, and something that's interesting, something you're passionate about, and something that might see good seeking opportunities out there as well. So that's it. That's the advice. Thank you.
That's wonderful. That's very
Yes.
nice. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to ask some questions? Dr. Bolanle, I guess you didn't check up the time. We preponed our session today by half an hour. So already his session is done. But nevertheless, we're happy that you joined us. So any questions? Anusup, would you like to ask something? Yes.
Actually, I missed the time. I was thinking about the other webinar on the emotion and anger. So I never knew that it's going to, something clashes together. So that was the reason why.
We are sorry for that.
Yeah, we are very sorry. Yeah. And I couldn't listen to. I think the webinar is about rounding up. Am I right?
It's already done. Yes.
Okay. It's about rounding up. I couldn't hear much on the webinar, but I know that masters really try on the presentation. I think it's okay. That's it.
You could watch us live on Facebook. Yes. Anustup, you were saying something?
No, ma'am, no questions.
Okay. Anybody else? So thank you, Siddharth. It was indeed a thought-provoking session for all of us. You took us to a journey where, you showed us how the education system, is it going, which path is it taking right now? And with a lot of dilemmas, pros and cons, we, the educators, are trying to experiment a lot and trying to work towards your goal as well. So you also address the problems of classroom management and how the whole learning curve can be improved and personalized using technology. So thank you for that. This pandemic for sure has forced all the schools to look into this aspect with a broader perspective now. And with your points, we definitely value those. The key points, what you already told us, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So we look forward for a lot of learning from you, Siddharth, and we wish you the very best in your future endeavors. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Lisa,
yes,
one last question to Siddharth.
Yes, why not?
machine learning coming and taking over, do you see that teachers will become redundant?
Oh no, definitely not. Not in a million years for sure. Well, I definitely don't think AI is like the next Terminator to just come on and take upon Skynet. So I don't think that's happening any soon, because AI definitely tends to work under a whole reward system, and without emotions, we can't really control. I mean, right now, to be honest, I can see AI is not that developed in humans, because sure, AI and technology might have come a long way, but it's going to at least take a billion years if AI wants to just become a human and start acting out in the real world. So I definitely don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Maybe minimum 30,
One
40.
more question, if you don't mind, Siddharth. We have
Oh
seen
yes.
in this pandemic, though the education system has, taken the Zoom meeting or the Google Meets as online learning, what do you think, how could we do best to go to the villages, to the taluka places in our country where children are still lacking a lot? So is there anything you look forward to in recent days that would be an easier way to connect to the rural children, to the rural students of our country?
I actually had this idea for a pretty long time when I saw Hashini Lakshmi Narayan. She's basically another one of my connection talking about that. And she had this great idea of actually trying to use satellite, trying to use dish cables and develop a small TV channel out there where it can broadcast, where you can actually broadcast education in a certain TV channel, where instead of us actually trying to and this can actually be taken into a level where any student out there can just go into the into the TV channel, start viewing, start taking up notes, and actually interact with the teacher to this live for TV calls as well. So there's a lot of potential out there for TVs, for TV channels which we actually take for a bit granted, I guess, because we're seeing all things like YouTube and all this come out, but we don't see the reach of YouTube and all these other applications reaching out there. Something like TV channels, at least, because it being a regional, sometimes a local, sometimes a world level type of thing. This can be taken into a great a great exposure into learning as well, mostly.
Well, thank you, Siddharth, for the enlightening message you have given us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashoka ma'am, for conducting this session for all of us. Yes, Dr. Bulani.
Ma'am Teresa, thanks so much. Even though I joined late, I like the way that Mr. Siddharth really made his presentation very, very well.
Yes, thank you.
And really encourage the boldness, the courage, and even the enthusiasm, even in his presentation. So it's really encouraged. When I look at the artificial intelligence, I look at it that even with the teachers in the classroom, most of the things that we are teaching the students, even before you teach them, you come to the classroom, they already knew it. Because most of these things that had been done by this artificial intelligence, they go to the YouTube, they go to Instagram, they go to Facebook, they download, they go to encyclopedia, and already the informations were there. So I think we must, as a teacher, must acquaint ourselves, to the changes that is going on even right now. We should not be, taking our teaching methodology to be only one way, just like the way we teach in the olden days and other things. In fact, the way that the things is going on in the global world, things are really changing and constantly changing, like what I told my students in the classroom. So artificial intelligence machines have really taken care of many of these things that we are teaching the students even in the classroom. They already knew it even before we, the teachers, were in the classroom. So, Mr. Siddharth, you have really tried in your presentation. I love your courage. I love your boldness. And I give you the kudos. Thanks so much.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. That's really great.
Dr. Bulani. Thank you, Siddharth, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I wish you all a happy weekend.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Yes. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you. Thanks.